天呢做个松饼，我告诉你，你就加些松饼粉，可能加个蛋。哎，我今天锁我的门了吗？哦，我们再加个些牛奶，500cc 就够了。哎，我的杯子呢？算了，倒进去随意就行了。
After falling, I go clubbing, then I'm hugging, then I'm hungry, and I'm walking on the street, and I'm getting grumpy. I see chow by my right, as my food in the air. It's Chinese food, it's my favorite, so I'm getting hungry. I love Chinese food, you know that it's true. I love fried rice, I love noodles, I love chow mein, I love Chinese food, you know that it's true. I love fried rice, I love noodles, I love chow mein. Read the menu, they got broccoli, even chicken wings, make it spicy, and you like it, cause it's beautiful, and it tastes so good. I like their egg rolls, and their wonton soup, this makes me feel so good. Fortune cookies, tell my future, Chinese food. I love Chinese food, you know that it's true. I love fried rice, I love noodles, I love chow mein. I love Chinese food, you know that it's true. I love fried rice, I love noodles, I love chow mein.
I love Chinese food and some wonton soup. Get me broccoli, why play Monopoly? Don't be a busy bee, cause it's your fantasy to eat Chinese food, egg roll and chop suey. I use the chopsticks to eat pot sticks. Put some hot sauce and sweet and sour, make it sweet. Because Chinese food takes away my stress. Now I'm gonna go and eat Panda Express.
I love Chinese food, you know that it's true. I love fried rice, I love noodles, I love chow mein. I love Chinese food, you know that it's true. I love fried rice, I love noodles, I love chow mein.
I mean, yeah, that's Chinese food from Allison Gold. Welcome to the show. What is this thing called? The Jaffe stream for Monday, the 16th of December. It's nice to see you. Welcome to your week. People are like, well, what is that? What do you mean, what is that? You remember Rebecca Black and Friday? My guess is that was them. I don't even know if it's the same company, but that was that trend for a while, whenever that was. But that's a catchy little song there. I like Chinese food. I don't like Panda Express. I don't know why when you go into Panda Express, it's like, when you get the chow and the chow mein, and you just want plain chow mein, right? Whatever you want in it, but you can't just get the noodles. They got to put all the fucking shit in there. They got to put the cabbage and shit. I don't understand. Anyway, point is, somebody's saying, where's the video games? Gavin Games comes up. That's disgusting. Brad says it's not even real panda meat. Gavin Games coming up this afternoon. That's where we talk all about the video games. We're talking about whatever you want here. I have topics, of course, lined up, but Jaffe stream is exactly what it sounds like. It's a stream of consciousness, a stream of the things that delight and please me, and hopefully delight and please you as well. If you want to call in and share your thoughts on pretty much anything going on, you can do so. The link is at the top in the YouTube there. Let me know if it's not working. And we'll talk about all kinds of stuff. I was going to say, how was your weekend? And I was thinking about my weekend. I did a lot of work this weekend. I did a lot of downloading analytics for the YouTube channel, trying to go through them. I got a wonderful group of people sending me some poll numbers for the stream, getting some stuff about what's working, what's not. So I spent most of the time working. We did take a walk last night, and we thought we saw a drone, but then the more we thought about it, it's like, that's probably just the planet Venus. I know. What's the topics today? Well, we'll talk about the new Superman poster. We're going to talk about a little bit of drones, not much, but a couple things on the drones. We've got coming up a little bit later, we're going to talk about the top slang words for 2024. I've only looked at the first two, and I don't know how many are on the list, and I didn't know either of them. My kid knew them. I'm like, I've never heard of either of these fucking things. It tells you how old you are. I have not seen Craven, Jonas, the movie Craven the Hunter. In fact, I'm curious. Let's go there real quick. Let's see how that motion picture did over the weekend. My guess is probably not good. Let's go to Deadline. They always have the good. Box office. My guess is it was just a total shit show. Skip ad. Fuck you. 11 million, the worst ever for Sony Marvel. What happened? Apparently it was a shitty movie. I will tell you about, they released the first 8 minutes online, and I watched them, and I thought it was a pretty good opening, actually. I was very, very surprised by it. I'm not going to go out to the theater and see it. But to be fair, I watched Madam Web, and I thought Madam Web was a lot of fun. It wasn't some great fucking movie or anything, but it was like kind of cool, kind of neat. Alex did go to the theater, and he says, I watched Craven. It was fantastic at the start. The midpoint was boring, and then it catches up at the end. A lot of good action at the end of it. Worth watching at the theater. Not sure. I don't go to the theater anymore. It's very rare. We walked by the movie theater last night, and I was like, oh, I had that urge, that yearning to get back into the movies. Because I used to go all the time to the movies. I would sometimes see 3 movies in a weekend with my movie buddies in college. But, you get older. It's more convenient to watch it at home. Now I'm watching just more TV shows when I get a minute. So, okay. You saw it yesterday, says Jonas with Friends. It was relatively empty, subpar movie, in my opinion, but it had some redeeming qualities if you like comics. I like comics, and I like the character Kraven. I've always thought Kraven was a cool character, but I'll be happy to watch it at home. But you know what? I mean, seriously, this will tell you how far off I am on this shit. I started watching with Calvin last night, Deadpool Wolverine, and we didn't finish it. We watched like the first 20 minutes and we got busy with other stuff. And I liked it, but I wasn't like, oh my God, this thing is amazing. I was just like, all right, it's fun. It's got some funny bits. I'm sure it gets better, but that movie was like the number 2 movie of the year. So people clearly love the Deadpool and the Wolverine, but I absolutely was just sort of like, if I never see any more of it, I'm good. I haven't finished Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. You think, comic book loving kid like me would know growing up this stuff would be there. I would be watching it like fucking crack. Do you watch crack? But I'm just not interested. Not interested. The number 1 movie of the weekend this week was probably Wicked, would be my guess. Wicked or Moana. Let's see. Here's your list if you're curious. I used to be obsessed with the box office when I was in high school. I was such a nerd. A good nerd. I liked being a nerd, but I was running around looking at all the fucking box office. And me and my movie friends in school were like, can you believe it? The Color Purple didn't open well. I'm sure all the girls were like, they're so cool. 300 million, Moana number 1, Wicked number 2. Wicked number 2's made more money so far, though, 360 million total. Craven number 3, Gladiator at 150. Man, there was a time when the a movie like Gladiator 2 would have opened with 150, but it's total 150 after 2 or 3 weeks. The new Lord of the Rings animated movie, not so great, 5 million. Red One, almost 100 million, but you can get it on Amazon. Interstellar re-release on IMAX, 12 million. Number 8, Pushpa 2, The Rule. Don't ask me, I don't fucking know. Number 9, The Best Christmas Pageant Ever, 40 million almost. And a movie called Queer at number 10 for 2 million ducats. Oh, that's the Daniel Craig movie. Daft Punk Interstellar 555, Jesus fucking Christ, made 1.5 million. What's that all about? It's probably a concert film. And then Y2K made 3.7. So there you go. Moana was amazing, says Alex. Amazing, really good, really good. I was impressed. I'm not crazy about animation. It was amazing. I think the word you're looking for, sir, is amazing. Jaffe, why did you respond to the Asmongold video? Are you grifting, trying to bait him onto your show? As you know, it will get huge views. No, so I opened up, I sent this poll out, as I mentioned. I opened up a channel on Discord at the suggestion of one of the people who filled out the poll about what they liked and don't like about the stream. And one of the suggestions that I thought was good was people were like, hey, Jaffe, why don't you react to more stuff? And I said, and he says, you know, you could set up a channel, blah, blah, blah. So I set up a little sub channel on the Discord, and it's called Jaffe React to This, and it's under general. And one of the first few things I got was somebody saying, hey, I think you should watch the Asmongold video about the intergalactic and Witcher 4 characters being, in his words, ugly. He says it might change the way you feel about Asmongold. And I don't really feel any way about Asmongold. I don't know the guy. I don't really watch the guy, but I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll watch it, whatever. And the guy asked me to respond, and I watched it, and I'm like, oh, I could respond to this. It would be pretty good. And so I did. So grifting, just so you know, you're asking if it was grifting. Grifting is when you're committing fraud, basically. So there's, you know, it would be grifting if I was lying, and I was doing so to make money off people who were listening to the lie. But no, it was not grifting. But certainly there was a conscious effort to go, hey, if I put this out, it will do well, because Asmongold's big, the topic's big. And there's a little bit of, not much, but a little bit of heat left over from a couple weeks ago when Asmongold and I and Vera Dark were kind of button heads in videos. And so fuck it, why not? You know, I had the time, and it was an interesting video he made, and I figured I'd respond to it. And lo and behold, it, you know, does well, way better than most of my videos do. So I'm like, yeah. So I'm not an idiot. I mean, of course, I'll take every opportunity to grow the channel, and if it turns out, which I assume will happen, 95% of the people watching it don't like me and will never like me, but 5% may become new watchers and new parts of our community. That's kind of the way you do it. I'm totally down. Ryan says, if that's your definition of grifting, how can you accuse people of Grum's grifting? If they believe what they're pushing, then it's not a grift. Right. Sure. And I believe some of those people that are doing that genuinely in their heart of hearts believe what they're selling. I don't have any evidence that any single one of them is actually fitting the definition of grifter, but by simply looking at their output, like you can look at my output and go, Jaffe clearly is political. Jaffe is progressive. He's left leaning. He's passionate about those things. He probably talks more than he should about those things because people get real tired of hearing about it, as the poll made me realize. But it's marbled in or sprinkled on top of the vast majority of my content, which is about video games and about media and about weird shit like aliens and UFOs and stuff. So if you look at a lot of other people's content that I was accusing of grifting, you know, how often does Grums wake up and tweet, oh my God, you guys have played this awesome game? Or, dude, I just saw the coolest movie with my family. Or, oh my God, I looked up and here's what I think the drones are. 90 fucking percent of a lot of these people's things are basically, you know, isn't everything that I hate terrible. And so that's why I would say all signs point to it being a grift, but you know, maybe not, I don't know. Okay. Warrior of God. We're going to talk about religion on this show today. I just want good games. Politics from either side is tiring. I just want to say gamers are fine. Games are fine with messages, but it needs to be woven and done well. I think most people agree. Most people agree with that. I mean, most people want well-written games. And look, man, I would play, I'm the most non-religious fella, and the most progressive guy, but I would play, I like religious movies when they're good. Even though I don't really necessarily believe it, certainly I don't believe the specifics of the religious stuff they're talking about. There may be something to it underneath the surface, but if you look at a movie like this, if you look at this movie, there's like 4 or 5 movies that are very religious. They're built for religious people in mind for the most part. I fucking love them, and they're just, they're good movies. This is a movie, hang on. This is The Shack, right? I've talked about The Shack before. I cry every single time I see it. I love it. This is Jesus, this is God, and this is like nature. And this guy played by the dude in Avatar, Sam Worthington, I think. His daughter was murdered, and he's just lost his shit over it. And he falls down and bashes his head, and he wakes up in the woods, and he sees this shack, and all these religious figures are living inside the shack, or they're in the shack. And he like makes bread with God, who's played by that lady who made the shit pie in that movie, The Help. And I cry and I get moved and I love it. Does he turn gay? Why would he turn gay? The Life of Brian's a great religious movie, but yes, I love this one. And then I love Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas, but for very, 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 very different reasons. Cause it makes me feel so much better about myself because I'm not Kirk Cameron, and that I love waking up and realizing, Jaffe, you may have your challenges like everyone else, but at the end of the day, when all the shit comes down, you're not Kirk Cameron. But look, hey, listen, let me tell you something. If you're religious out there, and you believe in God, hey, if God was like this lady, I'd be like, fuck, I'm all in on God. God's amazing. God's fucking awesome. But you gotta give me I had, by the way, I don't know what this was about. This was like 20 years ago. I had a dream that there was a shack or an old building on the side of the road, and I go into the building. And sitting on the building, like in lingerie, I'm not fucking with you, is this big, very large black woman. And she just looks at me and she says, I'm your subconscious. What are you afraid of? What the fuck? And then I woke up. Don't ask me. Don't fucking ask me what the fuck that was about. You ever have a dream where you have a crush on somebody, or you're dating somebody that you're not dating in the real world, and you wake up and you're like, fuck. That was awesome. I don't mean like a sex dream. I just mean like that was a really great relationship I just had in my subconscious. That's pretty great. I had one of those 2 nights ago. I'm not going to tell you who it was with, but I know this person in real life, and I'm just like, fuck, that was cool. They're married. Don't worry about it. Shut up. Okay. It wasn't Lizzo. No. Okay, Jonas says the God that lets kids be born with cancer instead of fixing that is busy baking with some random hunk instead is great. That's why I'm saying I'm not actually religious. I'm saying, sure, if you believe in God, or if you say, hey, Jaffe, this is what God is, I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. Anyway, shut up. Okay. Let me say welcome to our brand new member. Where'd he go? I got to find the right screen. I'm sorry. Our brand new member, James Taquino, has joined the Diet. The Soldiers can't speak. Soldier Diet. God damn it! The Diet Soda Soldiers. Thank you, James Taquino. I appreciate it, buddy. It's very generous and very courteous. Glad to have you here. Chain Whippin says, as a Christian, I have no problem with fantasy religions, Final Fantasy, Dragon Age, but when they start playing with what I consider true theology, I feel icky. That's just me. Yeah, I don't know. You know how I feel about religion. I think it's all, it's not my cup of tea. It's not my cup of tea. What can I do? Pattern says, God doesn't let kids be born with cancer. That's due to the sin in the world. Yeah, well, okay. Okay. Let's not go down that road. Look, it's the Jaffe stream. We can talk about whatever you want. But you ever notice that people don't want to talk about religion? They don't like it. They don't, because you know what? Religion, in my opinion, is like a house of cards, man. You breathe on it wrong and it collapses. So they'd rather just not discuss it. Could we not discuss the religion? Because the minute we do, it makes me uncomfortable. I get it. I understand. I wish there was Mayan 67. He says, is there a diet soda yearly sub? Maybe a special deal for Xmas. That would be phenomenal. I mean, there is over on Patreon. I think I haven't turned it on, but the Patreon sub for this channel is not great. I tell people when they sign up, it's mostly for people who want to support the show, but don't like spending money with Google. That's the main reason it exists, because so much of my content is live and they just don't do a very good job, with live. I know it's not in their best, and it's not in their best interest to team up with YouTube or Twitch, but that would be phenomenal if they could, because then the Patreon members would get a lot more value. Okay. Charles Darwin says, is man's worst invention religion, the greatest harbinger of death and despair? I think without religion, we probably would not have survived. We would not have evolved. I think, one of my favorite philosophers is Joseph Campbell, dead guy now, but he used to teach at Sarah Lawrence College. Most people know him because he was the inspiration for George Lucas in writing a lot of the Star Wars books. He wrote the great classic Hero with a Thousand Faces, suggesting that every single story that really resonates with humanity, no matter where it comes from and what culture, is the same story. And he says that when we lose our myths, when we outgrow our myths, which tell us who we are, where we're going, blah, 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 it's chaotic and we need new myths. And that's what usually happens. And he says he said before he died, we are in a point right now where the old myths no longer work, but we haven't really agreed upon a bunch of new myths. And in that, that's kind of one of the reasons we're struggling so much. So, is it right? I don't know. But I think religion got us out of the caves and allowed us to sort of survive. But I think now we're ready for something new. Okay. Gorgo says, I just turned on the stream. Okay. Thanks for letting us. What are you doing now? What are you wearing? Jesus Christ, man. I think man's worst invention is social media, says Jonathan. It has positives. I don't know if it's worth it. The thing that I would say is, about all this stuff is that, yes, it's terrible, but I think it's kind of like anything else. You have to sort of have pressure to make a diamond. I think for us to evolve, we've got to learn how to deal with this fire hose of data. We've got to evolve into brains that can do that. And I think we will. I think if you look at already the studies of what social media is doing to people, like at a physiological brain level, there's no doubt that if we cannot kill each other over the next 100,000 years, our brains will be absolutely acclimated to this and we will be better for it. But it's a nightmare right now. You're not wrong. You're not fucking wrong. But, what are you going to do? Not evolve, not advance? Come on now. Jaffe, you are the archetypical Bill Maher hedonist who is too old and set in his ways to responsibly approach a topic as complex as theology. Ember, let me, and you know what you are? You are the archetype, oh my God, you're the archetype. How about that? Of the person who basically likes to tweet shit and type stuff that sounds like you've got some thought going on behind your brain pan or in your brain pan, but fundamentally you're not doing anything but sort of wrapping your insult in some words that sound a little bit more thought out. If you actually had something to say, you would say it. Just saying that I'm too old and set in my ways to responsibly approach a topic as complex as theology. Okay. I mean, I don't agree, of course, but do you have something to say, or are you just throwing insults? You don't sound like a very religious man to me. I know you think you are, but I don't think God would approve. Okay. Goro says, I just got out of the shower. I hope you're well, Jaffe. I thought your take on religion is important. To have religion is good. Thanks, buddy. Okay. I do appreciate that. Okay. If you criticize lack of complexity, maybe more constructive. Okay. All religion actually did was breed patriarchy for 2,000 years, 80-ish years since equal rights, and look at the exponential on progress. That's true too. Okay. Let's move forward. We will get to some religious stuff for sure, but for now, dun, 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 dun. Check that shit out. That is the new Superman poster from Jimmy Gunn coming out July 11th. I won't play it, but if you actually go to the social media post, you can hear a bit of the soundtrack, and it's clearly inspired, and it riffs on the John Williams classic theme. I think it's great, man. I don't know what there is to dislike about it. I mean, Superman's my favorite superhero. He competes with Spider-Man. I always say that, but as I've gotten older, I think Superman kind of has moved ahead of Spidey in the race. I love that this looks like it's going to be an optimistic movie. It's going to speak to Superman representing hope and idealism and the best of us. The fact that it's called the tagline right now is "Look Up." I don't even know if that is probably meant to be a couple of things, but certainly a sense of positivity. So, I'm super down. Johnny Graphic says, what can be done with Superman that hasn't already been done before? I think that's pretty easy. I mean, I think that fundamentally we are in I think about that. It's easy to make it's not easy to make anything, but it's easier to make a Batman movie or a movie about a superhero that's already kind of where we are. But this is a guy who really believes in humanity, who believes in sort of, at least at one time they called it the American dream, but I just think what most people want for their lives. And he's in a world, and I'm assuming the film will touch on that. I don't think the film is going to be like, oh gosh, Superman, you're great right off the bat. I have to assume that they will deal with the fact that he's a guy, he's like a fish out of water, not just the fact that he's an alien, but he's a guy that really believes in us. And we're in a world where we don't even believe in ourselves, let alone each other. And I think that there's no way that's not going to be part of this. James Gunn is too smart of a writer to not to sort of deal with that round peg square hole aspect of how hard it is for Superman to fit into our current society. So I'm in. I don't agree with you, Jonathan. Jonathan says, maybe go into his cosmic stuff. We've never seen a movie touch on that part. I don't think we need that. I mean, your mileage will vary, but I don't, I think we need a grounded Superman. I don't want to see him on Krypton. I don't want to see the bottled city of Condor or whatever it's called. If you know, you know. I want to see the guy in New York or Metropolis or whatever, dealing with terrorists and I want to see that classic scene where the girl goes to jump off the building and he shows up and he just talks her down. I want to see the optimistic human side of this dude, man. That's what I want to fucking see. Jaffe, we don't care, says Ryan, about Gunn's garbage take on Superman. Only Snyder's vision mattered and it was taken from us. Oh, you're an idiot. Look, I like some of Snyder's movies. I even liked his 4-hour Justice League Death March, whatever the fuck it was. But I don't think his Superman movies were great. They had moments that were excellent. But I do not think that they were standalone good movies. You can argue, as some people have, that, he was working towards having Superman become the hopeful beacon, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? Part of the great thing about the myth is that he got that mostly from Ma and Pa Kent. He didn't have to become a man and then grow into that. He was raised to be a good person because those people found him. There's tons of Superman stories where he's found by other people. Like there's one where he's found by the Russians and he becomes a fucking walking nightmare. Right. Right. I don't necessarily really buy that idea, but I mean, if you like Snyder's version, cool, but give other people a chance. James Gunn is a good filmmaker. He clearly has passion for the material. I haven't watched Creature Commandos on Max. which is his first kind of shot in his version of the DC universe, but I hear it's really good. So I'm very much looking forward to it. Okay. What do you think of changing Superman's dog? Who gives a shit, Blackie? I don't mean to be a dick, but Blackie says it's not the same breed. It's a dog, man. It's a fucking dog. I don't even think about it. It's a white dog named Crypto. Good enough for me. I hear that. Scarlet Panic says, Jaffe, you need to watch Superman and Lois. It's amazing. I know it just ended, but I hear it's great. Absolutely. Okay. What's the best Superman movie? Probably Superman 2 from Richard Donner would be my opinion. But all the first two Superman movies are two of the best superhero movies ever made, in my opinion. So just like the first Spider-Man and the second Spider-Man from Sam Raimi. Okay. Jaffe just wants a boring ass nostalgia trip with cringe and woke gun. Wow. Okay. Superman's a character for kids. They don't want to watch some guy do realistic things like accounting. Well, then don't go see it, Matt D. I mean, the idea that Superman, honestly, your comment, Matty D, is why Superman is so important in this day and age. You guys just don't get it if you don't read Superman or you haven't read Superman in any meaningful way. Superman represents the guy who is going to be there when you are making a fool of yourself and you've lost hope and you think no one's there for you and you think you're a fucking loser and all you can do is lash out at other people and call other people's stuff dumb. And he shows up and he's like, look, I got you. It's fine. You're doing great. This shit is hard. That is not a character just for kids. One could easily argue and win the argument that that's a character that adults need more than ever, because it's easy to become cynical and it's easy to become angry and it's easy to become a dick because life is fucking hard and cruel and unfair. And it is. And a character like this, if Gunn can deliver it in a way that doesn't feel cheeseball, but addresses that essence of why this character is so great, I think is going to be excellent. I think it's going to be a balm for the modern soul. It could be. It may not be. I mean, the trailer comes out this Thursday, so we'll find out together. But right now, I'm positive. But if after I see the trailer, I may hate it. But I'll tell you something else. The girl in it, Lois Lane, is played by the marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is not only a great show, but she's cute as a button. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Okay. Wasn't Superman created during the Cold War? No. Superman was created in the 30s by two Jewish kids. They came up with him in high school. There's a wonderful podcast, I think, on Fandom. It's really fascinating. It's about, but let me answer your question though, or at least correct your assumption. Two Jewish kids in high school that never got the girl. They got picked on. They didn't really, and they made this character as a representation of what they wanted to be. So the first Superman stories were absolutely, very much aspirational, characters. I imagine that the story of putting, Superman in a rocket and sending him away is very similar to the Jewish Moses, or the Old Testament Moses myth, where Moses was put into a basket and sent down the Nile, and he was discovered in Egypt and raised by the Pharaoh, right? I think that was the story. So yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of Jewy on it for sure. Which, as a kid who was raised Jewish, I always thought was cool, but it's also just cool to see it sort of the myth continuing, and updating itself. But anyway, I lost my train of thought. Trailer's coming out Thursday. We'll see. But no, I'm a fan. Yeah, Superman was never dark. No, and this doesn't look like he's going to be a dark character. I think that's excellent. That they're kind of going down that road. Let me ask you a question real quick. I was going to tell you this before I show you this. The podcast, it's called Superman Clan podcast. I think it's on Fandom. Fandom presents Superman versus the KKK. It's really interesting. It talks about, I'll just read you it says it explores the rise of Superman and the KKK and how the two became intertwined in a battle for the hearts of the United States. It's hosted by Roth Cornett, who I think used to be over at IGN, and Mark Bernarded. And it's really good. I've listened to most of it, but the idea is that, because you asked about PR and propaganda, the idea is that at the time it was kind of a battle over, what the KKK wanted America to be and what a lot of non-KKK people wanted. And Superman and the KKK had both hired PR groups and stuff to sort of seed their message out into the world. And obviously, thank God, Superman was the one that most people embraced. But it's a really good podcast. I highly recommend it. Look it up. Look it up. I wanted to read this comment 1 second. Will this be the first live action movie from James Gunn? No, DeNova, because he's directed tons of live action movies, including all 3 Guardians of the Galaxies and the last Suicide Squad motion picture show. All right, let us move on. I want to show you something. We're not going to watch much of this at all, and I know you guys remember that sign language lady that was arrested because she was just doing bullshit. I don't know sign language, but my guess is that this is accurate because he's the White House sign language guy. But what in the fuck? This looks like he's taking the piss. Look at this guy on the right.
Thanks for doing this. I have a question sort of about legacy. Biden billed the speech this afternoon as about an economic playbook, something
Here it
that
comes.
is successful and should be replicated. But it didn't have a lot of electoral success, and it didn't, in the minds of voters, as other folks have said, they don't see it as a success for them. I just wonder what gives you or what gives the president confidence that this should be or would be replicated.
So here you have to, it's a totally fair question.
Here we go.
Here you really have to get under the hood, and I've done this. If you ask people what they think about paying $35 for insulin versus $400 a month, it's not going to surprise you that polls somewhere between 80 and 150%. I'm making the second number up, but it polls north of 80%. If you ask people how they feel about an infrastructure project that restored a bridge in their area, again, you'll get approval numbers.
I hope I don't have the time code wrong, but right there we go. Right, come on. There's no way this is real.
How you feel about this new computer fab that's going microprocessor
Come on.
fab that's going up in your town, in your area, that's going to provide thousands of jobs building these fabs.
You see that guy? Come on.
Fields long, and lots of jobs.
There's no way.
The president.
There's no way that was real. He almost looked like he was doing the jerking off motion.
If you ask people how they feel about an infrastructure project that restored a bridge in their area, again, you'll get approval numbers in the high 70s and high 80s.
That, come on.
And now
Come on.
Democrats.
Come on. All right. There you go. Anyway, I just wanted to show it to you because I'm just kind of wondering if you guys speak the sign language. Maybe you know if it's full of shit. Seems full of shit to me. But hey, it's entertaining. Hope you're not deaf. And then you're like, hey, could you fucking do the sign language properly, you son of a bitch? What do you mean you don't see it? What don't you see? You mean you don't understand what I'm talking about? This guy over here, I'll just show it one more time. Just that section. When he starts talking about the infrastructure and 80%, 90%, look at this guy over here, right?
Somewhere between 80 and 150%. I'm making the second number up, but it polls north of 80%. If you ask people how they feel about an infrastructure project that restored a bridge in their area, again, you'll get approval numbers in the high 70s and high 80s.
That and this
people, and now
and that
about Democrats and Republicans.
I mean, come on. I'm not a hater. He just looks, critically says sign language is bullshit. Come on. He said, I want 10 cheeseburgers, but I'm deaf and don't hear what the actual cost is. Maybe that would be good. Mayan says he's just making a few jokes for deaf people. Could be. Jaffe says, Alex, if you were to believe in God, what sacrifice would you have? I don't care. It means nothing to me. I don't, if God wants to talk to me, he knows where I'm at. Apparently that's what I hear. Look at this. Look at my girlfriend, Taylor Swift. Listen, this is salt of the earth. This is some salt of the earth shit. Yeah, he's saying pop your banana mutant mode. That guy never got back to me. Somebody last night said that to me on Twitter. I'm like, I don't understand what that means. Are you insulting me? Are you propositioning me? What does pop your banana mean? Taylor Swift, my girlfriend, handed out $197 million in bonuses to the crew and dancers who worked in the Eras Tour. The Eras Tour made $2 billion. It went for 2 years all over the world. And here's just one of the fucking letters that she put out there. Let me see if I think there's a tweet of it, or there's a card that one of the drivers posted of her basically saying thank you, and she's like, your bonus is $100,000 and thank you for driving. Isn't that nice? I mean, that's just nice when people can do that. Taylor Swift, I'm a big fan of. I like her music. I like she writes her stuff, does some producing. Here it is. Thank you for your excellent work for the U.S. leg of the Eras Tour. Your well-deserved bonus is $100K. Come on now. Sure, it's still crumbs, but and look, I don't think anybody, I'm not opposed to the idea of, if you're a billionaire, you probably should reevaluate how you spend your money. But $100K, for her, it might not be much, but for a guy or a girl who drives a fucking truck and gets benefits and gets paid well to be part of her tour, and gets insurance, and then suddenly at the end of the year, here's $100K, go buy yourself, something nice. That's fucking cool. It's fucking cool. You're blue sky friends with Taylor, and she has never heard of Jaffe. Yeah, of course. I don't think she has either. Why would she? The closest she's ever gotten to me was I saw her on the Red Tour with my kids, and our tickets were okay, but there was a point where she came out in the middle of the audience, which was pretty cool. I mean, look, I'm not saying she's some kind of, she's just so normal. You don't get to be someone like Taylor Swift, who's arguably the most famous person on the planet, and your brain doesn't get rewired. Your brain doesn't get rewired, of course, but but I certainly think if you're a billionaire anyway, you should probably give your money to a lot more people anyway. I mean, how much money do you fucking, think about this. I want to make sure I got my math right, but I think I do. How many people live in the US? I think it's like 300 million, $334 million. Okay. What is, okay. So if you take Elon Musk and you take his wealth, apparently he is currently now worth, $440 billion. He could give every human being in America $1 million. He can give him $2 million, but $1 million, and he wouldn't even feel it. That would be less than half of 25%. Good, Jaffe, whatever. But of course he's not going to do it. These people don't want equality. They don't want really people not to suffer. They if they did, they would do it. But I just want you to think about that. Think about all these billionaires. I mean, you're a fucking billionaire. You didn't make the money without the help of unpaid help of so many other your fellow Americans, in terms of infrastructure and taxes that you were able to use to build up your businesses, and also it's just the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do, but is what it is, I suppose. Just build affordable homes would be nice, says Scooser Boots. Yeah, what's the problem? You're really going to miss $400 million, Elon, you piece of shit? So all you guys out there that are, loving on the guy. And this goes both ways, not just Elon. It's all these people with all this money, left, right, center, whatever. You know, when you've got that kind of money, you don't owe it to anyone, but what's the matter with you? You don't get to be that rich being an altruist. Yeah, you don't. But there's a point that when you do get to be that rich, there's a point where you say, okay, I won. I crossed the finish line. Let me help. Alex will talk about video games on the afternoon show, as always. What do you mean the math doesn't add up? If you have 335 million people and each person gets $1 million, that's $335 million subtracted from $440 billion. Oh, my math doesn't add up because I was assuming it was 4 billion. No, it's 400 billion. It's 400 billion. What do you mean quadrillion? What are you talking about? Look, Elon Musk wealth. He is currently worth $440 billion. Okay. So if you say, what is 300 and whatever I said, 35 million minus 439 billion, what's the problem? What do you mean the math doesn't add up? It may not add up when I was assuming I thought it was 4 billion, because then I was like, it was less than 25%. Put 330, what? Put 333 million. Oh, yeah. Okay. You're right. You're right. Yeah. I was assuming $1. Hang on. Wait a minute. Hang on. Let's do it. Let's do the calculator. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I fucked that up, but still, I didn't fuck it up so bad that it's still, my point doesn't still stand. Hang on. Why is it so hard to have an online fucking calculator? Hang on. Calculator. Here we go. Hang on. Let's bring it up right here. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Shut up, idiots. Okay. 330. Oh, 5. Hang on. 335 million times 1 million. Okay. Equals that much. Wait, did I do it really wrong? Hang on, I think I did it really wrong. What is that? That's a million, a trillion, a billion. Okay, so he would have to give a lot of it away. Okay, but still, is that let's see, that's a billion, that's a trillion. Okay, that's wrong. That's really bad. That's really bad. I got it totally wrong. Okay, but fuck you. Fuck you. Imagine I said something really smart at that point. I hate you all. Fuck you. But still, okay, let's just take it. The point is how many people, the point is they could be giving away a lot of money to people and they'd be a lot better off and they're assholes. How about that? Can we just agree with that and let somebody else who has a lab coat and glasses do the math, you fucking nerds? That's why you guys are the nerds and I'm the cool guy. I'm the guy that all the guys want to be and all the women want to be with. That's why I'm that. You guys do the math. Fucking idiots. But you're right. You're right. Okay. Let's move forward, shall we? Thank God. Get me out of here. Look at this. Police stop a truck transporting 226 dogs destined for human consumption. Look at that sad shit. Now, listen for a moment. Listen for a brief moment about this. Hang on. Listen, I mean, so here's my dog right there. Hi, baby. Here's the question about this story. Is, you're eating, I mean, why is this bad, but doing it to a cow, which apparently is as smart as a dog, or they're pretty smart. They're pretty conscious, right? Let's see. How smart are cows? How smart are cows? Cows are quite intelligent. Excellent problem solving, blah, blah, blah. Are cows smarter than dogs or pigs? Depends how you measure their thing. But a lot of these creatures are sentient, if not all of them. You don't have a problem eating the other ones. But I guess we're going to eat these. But still, though, I mean, I couldn't do it. I couldn't, you know what? I was going to say I couldn't. Here's what I was going to say. Here's what I've been conditioned and trained to say by, you guys. I couldn't do it, but hey, if you got to eat, you got to eat. No, if you take the life of something else and you do it to eat them, you're pretty much not entirely, but part of you is a monster. I'm more evolved than you are. That's just the way it is. That's not a better or worse necessarily. It's probably better, but I'm just saying it's, I'm probably better than you are fundamentally because I wouldn't do it. I couldn't go to something and look and listen to this guy. Listen to this guy. I got to show this guy. I'll tell you, this is what you guys remind me of, by the way. Okay. Is this young man right here? Listen to this motherfucker. Fuck you, just a man.
No more.
He says cows could give each human $1 million. I fucking hate you. I got the math wrong. I'm not a math guy. Okay. Fuck you. Here we go. Listen to this guy. This guy was in New York. They asked this guy this question.
Hey, excuse me, sir?
Hello.
Hi, we're just asking New Yorkers, what do you do for a living?
I work at a slaughterhouse.
What?
Slaughterhouse. I work the air gun.
Oh.
So when an animal is no more, you take an air gun with a 6-inch rod and it right inside your head.
Oh. What's your favorite part of your job?
Watching the light be released from a living creature.
Oh, okay.
It's the laugh that makes it art.
What are you doing? You want to come in?
Hey,
I mean, come on now. Right? And it's like, and I get it. It probably is staged. I believe it. It's staged. I believe it. But still, it's a real thing. I don't know. I'm just, you're killing something. And I get it, by the way. I get the idea that you can say, well, that's people. People are just animals. I get it. But you know what? What people have that other animals, no offense, Ace, don't have is the ability to have self-reflection and consciousness at our level and analysis and self-reflection. And we can go, you know what? Yeah, they're just animals and we're just animals, but it causes suffering. So maybe not so much with the killing animals and putting them in our bellies and shitting them out. But I don't judge you. That's not true. I judge you, but I understand I'm more evolved. The dog meat trade is widespread, says Jojo D. And hang on, the dog meats. See, here's what I'm saying though. I'm in the room where I record and stream, and Ace was in here on the couch. And now he wants to get out. But he's like the aliens in the movie from Shyamalan, Signs. He is stymied by the door that is shut. Well, go ahead and open it, Ace. You fucking idiot. I'm going to let him out. Hang on. I've changed my mind. Eat them all. They're fucking idiots. Thing couldn't even open the fucking door. Fuck him. Okay. Don't talk to Ace like that. That's right. Oh, Lord. Do you have any advice for writing and critical thinking? Maybe past experiences. Meditation is great. Yeah, Ace heard the subject, says Jojo D, and was like, get me the fuck out of here. These people look hungry. Meditation is great for that. One of my favorite books of all time. Hang on, I'll show it to you. I'll bring it up if you're curious. What's it called? This is I was really having a bit of a existential crisis when I was in my mid-20s, and I discovered this book, and it really did change my life in all the best ways. It is a woman who is part of the Shambhala organization. She is, I think she's Buddhist, or she was, but it's non-secular, right? It's sort of non-secular or non-religious Buddhism, basically. And she wrote a book. Her name's Pema Chodron, and she's written a number of books, but this one was the one that I read that taught me how to meditate and got me into it. Let me bring up the screen. It's called When Things Fall Apart. And I read it every couple of years. I actually have it on my nightstand. I'm starting to reread it again. And it absolutely changed my life. And if you are looking for ways to improve your writing or your self-reflection or any of that, as you were asking, I highly recommend this book. It's delightful. It's excellent. I'm not a Buddhist. No, I'm not anything, but there are philosophies and lessons from all religions that I'm a fan of. How old is Ace? Billy Bones, he's probably like 10 or so. Okay, let's move forward. Bro, are you gay? No, I am not gay, but there are days I wish I would, because men are less picky when it comes to sex. I thought so. That's not maybe true. My brother, who is gay, lived in West Hollywood at the time. And I was saying, what do you, I imagine gay people are having sex all the time because they're dudes. He says, yeah, but the thing you have to understand is, at least the gay folks in West Hollywood, they have a lot of options, and they are very, at least the ones he was around, are very visually, they're like, they want the really fucking good looking dudes. So in some ways, it's even more of a, you got to really be on your A game if you're a gay dude, at least in West Hollywood. That's what he was saying at the time. So, there are at least 20% of chat that wants to have sex with you, says Blackie. Yeah, and most of them, no thank you. Yeah, they only want the high-rated cock, says Kevin Sow, who I think is gay. Yeah. Jaffe is asexual. I'm not asexual at all, but I will tell you, as I've gotten older, and it's probably more of a testosterone thing, I would imagine. It just, I've done it. It doesn't drive me like it used to. It's not that I was ever like, every fucking night or anything, like, out, prowling the town. That sounds awful. It's like a rapist. But I'm just saying it. Yeah, I'm 53, and it doesn't really matter as much as it used to. Maybe it'll change if I meet the right person, but it's not really something that is a big motivator. Which is kind of nice, because it's nice to not have that pull as well anymore, at least as often. Jaffe, did you lose the negative attitude you had the previous stream, says Jason 4. Jason 4, I'm always angry. You know what I'm referencing? I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't really know what you're talking about. Could you perhaps give me a little bit more insight? Look at this. We're not going to get into wrestling all that much, but I did see this come across the thing here, the Twitter, and I guess this is bullshit, aka kayfabe or whatever. But when I saw this, like, usually, it's clear when the WWE is doing a bit or a job or whatever it's called, when they're a gig. I don't know what they call it. But I saw this and I'm like, is this real? Because this seemed pretty fucking real compared to most things. But my understanding is, no, this is not real. This is kayfabe. This is fake. This is part of the show. And then I started looking up, like, what are the cases where people thought it was part of the show, but it was real. And I can't show them to you because of copyright and stuff. But I guess there was this point where Brock Lesnar broke this guy's fucking neck. Where's this one? Brock Lesnar, who'd he do this to? Lesnar's attempt, a high-risk move, botched the landing on his head and neck. And fans thought it was a real deal. I guess he totally hurt this dude. Then there was this one, which I can show you. This was, I guess, look at this. This is a real quick clip I'll show you. But even if you're not into the wrestling, and it's not gross or anything, it's just really, really interesting.
Stoner Joe Productions 2 joined.
Hang on, Stoner Joe. I'll bring you in a second.
What were you thinking when you were in the ring when Joey Mercury ate that ladder?
If you watch that clip close, we both took the ladder. I'm a little taller than Joey, and he was leaned over, and the ladder hit me on the chin.
That bam!
I went out one side of the ring, and he went out this way. I didn't see what happened to him. I thought my jaw was broken. I'd never been hit that hard in my life. A minute or two goes by, and it's almost time for me and Joey to run back in the ring. And I crawled over, and I was like, where's Joey? And I looked up the ramp and just saw this trail of blood and like the trainers escorting him out, and thinking to myself, like, oh,
Yeah.
We still.
I mean, so that shit happened, and then Owen Hart was being lowered on he was kind of coming in Mission Impossible style on a hook and a rope kind of thing, and apparently I think they sued and settled, but the company that put the thing together wasn't doing their job as best they could, and he fell and he died, and that wasn't broadcast at all, but the people in the arena knew what was going on. So. And then there's this one. This one is this is like underground wrestling. This was ECW. I looked these up because I don't really follow this a lot, but I guess ECW had a wrestler, Mass Transit, who was like an underage new wrestler, and you can't really tell what's happening here, but apparently he gets stabbed, and it's real fucking serious. And I don't know if it ends up that the guy was literally trying to hurt him or they just kind of fucked up. But before you know it, you've got the paramedics in there, and this was the real fucking deal. And this is from like 96. It's really hard to tell. But yeah, at this point, they're in there trying to stop the bleeding, right? So this was so there's been a bunch where the audience just kind of thought it was a joke or part of the show. And then somebody, I don't remember who it was from our stream, linked me a while back to this. I think it's in Kansas, but it's this wrestling company that is just brutal as fuck. And they still try to make it safe, but people get hurt all the time, and they attack people with glass and barbed wire and bricks, and bones and shit get broken all the goddamn time. So it's in blood, and it's as it hadn't been shut down yet, but there's a great documentary. I think it's on Vice, maybe, that spends like a year with the guy who runs it, and it's pretty insane. It's pretty fucking insane. Anyway, what do I think of Destiny, the political streamer? I don't really know the guy. I did see today on our Discord, people were talking about that some girl reached out and said, "Oh, I want to have sex with you again." And he's like, "I'm focusing on work, and so no, or not right now, or whatever." And I was like, I didn't see what the big deal was. I know apparently people are talking about that, but I don't really know anything about it. So my answer is I'm aware of him. I know that he is a political streamer. I believe he's progressive, not as progressive as me, because of course I'm the most progressive guy you know. But
Oh, you can hear me? I can't hear you. Oh, I still can't hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.